I happen to be one of the members who stayed in one of the WIS communities in Sicily. And so I will share just about my experience there with working with the immigrants on the ground. Our main point there was really to be bridge between the immigrants and the local people. That was about enculturation. We tried in a way to connect and be the bridge between the local people and the immigrants, because like we've heard from other speakers this morning, it is still very difficult for the local people to enculturate, and also for the immigrants to enculturate with the people here. So it is a two-way traffic. Much as the immigrants would not accept some of the Italian culture, the local people would not also accept the culture that the immigrants would bring with them. So we were there as the community of WISG trying to bridge up this reality. And we managed in a few ways. The integration of the local people, we did that through various activities. I must say compliments to the parish where we belonged at that time. It was very open to the presence of the immigrants. Though they had to walk like 4 kilometers to come to our parish, most of them not being Christians, but because they knew that they were accepted in that space, we used to have a lot of them who would come to worship with us. And also because we didn't just say they are not Catholic or they're not Christians, they would come. We would have the Muslims, we would have the Christians, we would have Pentecostals, and anybody was welcome. So like for the Christians, they would come maybe like an hour before our usual Mass, Eucharistic celebration. They would come there, have their hour of their own Pentecostal worship, and would be with them there. And then afterwards would start Mass. And from that, we created a good relationship with them, and also with the local parishioners and other local people. So they would come and join, would have Masses together. We had a lot of classes for catechism. I think in the 3.5 years that I was there, we managed to have like 25 baptisms, something like that. And some of the activities that we did with them was to look for lawyers for them, because most of them, I can't say, it was difficult for them to have access to free lawyers. So we did that for them, and we tried also to help through with Italian lessons. So different kinds of immigrants from all over would come to our parish because we didn't have a place of our own where they could meet us, so we'd use the parish. So they would come there and would help them with Italian lessons, would help them with dopo scuola for the children, after school for the children. And then we tried also to do some projects, especially for the girls, some projects of empowerment where we could also involve volunteers from the local people. And we worked a lot with Caritas and Immigrants Office at the diocese. And through that, we also came to know other people who were interested. And also because they knew we were close to the immigrants, they would approach us when they needed like to get a little closer to them. And we were able to convince them, because of our presence, that it was okay and not every immigrant was a criminal, and to convince them that not every immigrant was a prostitute on the street, or not every immigrant was violent. So that was our main role. And we also tried to do spiritual accompaniment through counseling, translations at the court if need be, and we were just there for them. the main thing for us was actually just the presence, even when we did not do anything, but just for the immigrants to know that our presence was there, particularly just for them, was the most important for us. I don't know how many minutes are remaining. And then we found networking was also key because we had to identify other stakeholders in the community where we had to bring also the problems of the immigrants to them. But language barrier was something huge. And as I started from the beginning, enculturation was very difficult. Even when we managed to have most of our Sicilian friends to get close to the immigrants in one way or the other, you could still see what I would say the power and control that still existed, that it was always the immigrants in most cases who had to give in to the Italian culture and not the other way around. And I would try by all means to try and fight that even with my other sisters in the community, but it wasn't very easy. You know, like just a little example whereby, for example, a Nigerian girl has a baby, and then you look for a madrina to support that little family. While the child is growing, starts to eat, they would, what can I say? They would force the girl to say, you don't have to feed her with your food. You have to start feeding this child with Italian food. And I was like, what? I mean, we've had missionaries in my country, in my congregations, who may have been there even for 30 years and never tasted our polenta. Eh? So, no, but why did she decide to come to Italy if she didn't want that this child should be raised in an Italian way? I said, but they also have their own rights. So food is just one of the little things, but there were so many other things. And being African myself, being a missionary, apart from having legal documents, I also felt like I was an immigrant because there were so many things that I couldn't really do my way because, I mean, it's not my country. So I really felt that I was in the right place because I could fit in their shoes. And not because I want to despise anybody or any race, but the first time, I mean, I've traveled extensively, but the first time I really felt a stranger and I really felt discriminated was the time I lived in Sicily. I mean, I had a good time. If today I have the opportunity to go back to Sicily to do the same kind of job, I would go there immediately. But I still felt some kind of segregation in one way or another. Like, you know, you look for jobs for people would come, sister, we need the badante, we need the girl to help somebody here and there. And then immediately you present the girl, sorry, I didn't know she's una straniera. You're like, oh. I didn't know I had a problem with my color until I came to Sicily. So those kind of things, you really wonder, I mean, how do you break that? This is just the tip of an iceberg, but this was my experience. And there were a lot of good things that the Italian community of Sicily did for us as well. I mean, like all those volunteers never asked for a coin. They did a lot of things voluntarily, but at the end of it all, there's still something yet down there which should be addressed concretely. Thank you.